Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about how companies really grow. We're going to trace the journey from the classic old school handshake deal all the way to the super complex, data-driven engines that power today's most successful businesses.
Let's just kick things off with a number that might make you do a double take: 72%. That's how many accounting firms, businesses we think of as being totally stable, admit they have a hard time winning new clients. It's a huge sign that just having a good reputation, well, it's not going to cut it anymore.
And this quote from Harvard Law School, man, it just nails why. For generations, growth wasn't a science. It was all about your pedigree and your local connections. Your last name, your golf club, those were your best marketing tools. But that whole world, it's pretty much gone. Okay, so let's hop in a time machine and look at those old rules. For most of the 20th century, especially for pros like lawyers and accountants, the playbook for growth was super simple, mainly because it wasn't even written down. The number one rule was basically seem professional and dignified, no matter what. I mean, can you believe it? Actively going out to find clients was seen as unprofessional, almost tacky. The American Bar Association literally had rules that banned advertising. Growth was supposed to just happen to you, through some quiet referrals and your amazing reputation, not something you actually went out and chased. But then a few major shocks hit the system and just completely blew up that old model. And we're not talking about little tweaks here. These were total game changers that tore up the old rules and forced everybody to write a brand new playbook for how to grow. It kind of happened in waves. First, there was this huge Supreme Court case back in '77 that basically gave professionals the thumbs up to advertise. That opened the floodgates. Then you get to the '90s, the dot-com boom, and suddenly it became clear that a young coders network in Silicon Valley could be way more powerful than a senior partner's old money connections. The whole power dynamic was flipping. And that leads us to the biggest change of all. The customer is now in charge. Just look at this number, 94%. That's how many B2B buyers do a ton of their own research online before they even think about talking to a salesperson. All the power, all the information, it flipped from the seller to the buyer. The game was truly fundamentally different. So the old playbook's in the shredder. What now? Well, companies needed a whole new kind of team to even compete. And this is where we see the rise of the modern growth team. So let's break down the three key players, right? You've got marketing, business development, and sales. So first up is marketing. Think of them as the company's storyteller and its ears. They're in charge of the brand, they cast a really wide net to get people's attention, and they teach the world about the problems the company can solve. Basically, they get the whole conversation started. Then you have business development, or what everybody just calls biz dev. These guys are the explorers, the scouts, who are looking way out over the horizon. They're not stressing about this quarter's sales number. They're busy building the big partnerships and finding the new markets that are going to fuel growth 2, maybe 3 years from now. And finally, there's sales. Okay, these are your closers. They are laser focused on the here and now. Their job is to take all those great opportunities that the other teams have created and turn them into the one thing that keeps the lights on: cold, hard revenue. This chart really lays out the key difference, especially between sales and biz dev. See, sales is transactional. It's all about hitting the number this quarter. Business development, on the other hand, is relational. It's about building the partnerships that will create opportunities next year. One's a sprint, the other's a marathon. There's this great sports analogy that just makes this crystal clear. Think of marketing as playing a zone defense. Their job is to cover the whole field, create that broad awareness. But biz dev, they're playing man-to-man. They're focused with all their effort on just a few super high-value strategic targets. Okay, so here's the absolute most important part of this whole thing. These different roles, they can't work alone. It's like an orchestra. To make something amazing, they have to play together, in sync, as part of one unified system, the modern growth engine. And you don't just stumble into building that engine. It's a step-by-step process. It all starts with your brand strategy. You have to know who you are. From there, you make great content, you make sure people can actually find it when they search, and that now includes new stuff like answer and generative engine optimization. Then you boost it with ads, you engage on social, and this is the key, you weave it all together with the sales team to turn that effort into actual money. I mean, this new engine is built for a completely different world. That old 20th century model of rigid 5-year plans and only caring about the product, it's gone. The winning formula today is all about the customer experience, being able to change on a dime, and being global from the second you launch. And this new model runs on a whole new set of tactics. It's not about trying to be everything to everybody anymore. It's about owning a small niche, using data to make every single customer feel like you're talking just to them, and building a culture where growth is everyone's job, all powered by smart tech. All right, let's bring this all home. This is our last and most important section where we see how all these pieces have to fit together to create something that's way more powerful than any one part. If you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Growth is not a department. It is a fully integrated system. The companies that are absolutely crushing it today are the ones that have bulldozed the walls between their teams. They have this smooth, seamless flow where the brand creates the story, marketing tells that story to the world, and sales turns that story into customers. So that leaves us with one last really fascinating question. We've gone from a simple handshake to these incredibly complicated data-driven engines. But now, with AI shaking up everything from how we search for things to how we build relationships, what do you think is next? What does the growth engine of the future even look like?